own studio. They have consumer products, and they're interactive as far as Disney.com and Maker Studios. You know, so they run. They even have a gaming network coming. You know, all their licensing. So they own Star Wars. You know, things of that nature. But then they also have all their media networks. So they have Disney, ABC Television, ESPN. ESPN.com obviously comes with that, but ABC Family. Then they have all their Disney channels themselves, Hulu, Fusion, A&E, like it just Lifetime, History Channel, like it just keeps going and going and going. And now they, you know, Marvel, obviously, as I said, like there's just the list.
Yeah, look at what they did to Roseanne.
Miles long.
If you do something wrong, you know, they take off Roseanne off of TV, right? Then they take it off of Hulu. They took it off of Hulu, so they took it. They take it off everywhere, all over the place, and that's a problem. Yeah, and you know, if they do acquire Fox, there's also the chance of them trying to go after Time Warner, which I had read at one time.
Yeah.
So you figure Disney's got ABC, ESPN, Pixar, Miramax, and Marvel Studios, and you know, obviously they have LucasArts. If they get Viacom, that's MTV, Nickelodeon, BET, and Paramount. You know, what more is there to get?
I'll be right back.
It's hard to fathom how much they really control. And especially, like you said, if they have a set, even not to go like SJW on it and things like that, but if they do have a set agenda in mind, which certainly seems that way for a lot of things, it's just they have the final say. Like you said with Roseanne, if something happens, rather than even let the audience decide or anybody else, bam, you're done. Like there is no chance for rebuttal. And you can't even really say, oh, I'll go elsewhere. I'll let Netflix pick me up or things like that, because they're controlling all the other options as well. So somehow it all falls under their umbrella. So you screw up one place, you're pretty much terminated.
Well, before we get into, I know we're doing PUBG and we're doing all the other stuff that's going up, but before we get into that real quick, I'm also seeing tons of reports, finally, because before we weren't really sure, and I don't know if this is people overreacting with bad service or something and they're freaking out, but there's a lot of reports of like throttling now, like more than ever. It's like really.
Oh, yeah. Well, net neutrality passed through as well, so, you know.
Yeah, and what was that, like early June, I think, when it passed through?
Yeah. And.
I don't know if it's true, you know what I mean? But I know that there was also some reports from people that were like, you know, if there's a certain website, if you go to a speed test website, there's a certain one where if you leave it on, they won't throttle you because it can read it or whatever. But most of the speed testers are rigged. So
yeah, because the speed testers don't show your actual speed. It shows your throughput. It's basically people to make it like a simple explanation. Speed tests often are run by the Comcast network, and you know, so if you have Comcast, the speed test shows how big your pipe is, not how much water is flowing through it. So the speed test will say, oh, you have 200 down and 50 up, and you're like, oh wow, that's really fast, that's great, I'm getting what I pay for. But really, the actual connectivity that you're using and getting is maybe 10 to 15% of that. So even though you have the ability to run all this through it and connect back and forth, you're only getting a small dribble of content.
Well, I always bought it because like when I was having internet troubles, I'd go on and look at it and it would be bad. Then they would show me it being bad. So I'm like, okay, well, it must be honest, because now it says I've got an upload of 1 and a download of like 20. So it's like, this is usually right.
A lot of the speed test companies and things like that have since been taken over by Comcast, Xfinity, So they said the repeal of federal net neutrality rule became official yesterday, giving broadband providers the right to block or throttle internet traffic or to prioritize traffic in exchange for your payment. Major ISPs are saying they won't do anything, including Comcast, Verizon, AT&T. This is all according to ARS Technica, but by contrast, Charter's network management only promises that it won't block or throttle while making no promises about paid prioritization. But then it goes on to list here, Comcast saying we don't favor traffic, but then there's lists of examples here saying and showing how people have been controlled and manipulated. So,
wow.
They've literally gone and they show here how speeds have just dropped, and especially major cities and things like that. And in areas where there's a monopoly, it's gotten even worse. So like if Comcast is your only choice, it's gone down even further.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is it's all great to have competition or whatever, and but it's like some people only have one choice. Like I only have one choice. There's no other choice here, and I'm in a city. and there is no other choice here, and I'm in a city. That's crazy. So there's no choice. You're screwed. If it's not good, hey, it ain't good. My only choice is to run out and like buy a private satellite or something and hook up to some whatever. That's crazy though. Who does that? And that's probably like thousands of dollars. I don't even know. And
even then, and that's not always guaranteed either. Satellites still,
and it's bad.
Satcoms have issues.
I installed a few of them with when I worked at not DirecTV. What did I work? Jesus, Dish Network. We had something called like Blue Rhino or something. I don't know what it was. It was like Blue something, Blueberry. I don't know. But like we had to like be careful because it was like, I guess it was like crazy, like dangerous or something. You couldn't be in front of the LNB satellite. Like they trained you. Like they didn't really train us either. That's the thing is I wasn't trained to install it. They're like, you're not supposed to install this, but we need you to install it basically. So I did.
Yeah.
And they were like, don't stand anywhere near the thing. I'm like, what? Like what the hell am I doing? Like. And I installed this thing, and I barely got the satellite because the trees, and I'm like, man, someday that tree's going to grow, and you're not going to have signal here. And there's nowhere else to go unless you knock down 7 over 300-foot trees, or whatever they are. And but anyway, the lady got signal, and I'm pretty sure she got, like, I want to say, like, maybe 3 to 4 gigabytes of upload, maybe. And, probably like 30, 40 download. And that would be dangerous for me to broadcast with that limited amount broadcasting wise. So if you lived anywhere out west and had to get that, you're pretty screwed, I guess. And even when 5G
there's people
comes
around
out,
here that still get like megabits per second in terms 3 and then like 1.3 up, 3 down, and that's considered fast with Frontier, who's also formerly AT&T Uverse.
Yeah,
literally 3 down, 1 up.
Well,
paying hundreds of dollars a month.
All right, let's move on to PUBG, I guess. I did record that too, but what's up, everybody? I recorded a video. I'm here with D-Moon and Jake, and we're about to do our... we're going to talk about PUBG and the notes, the patches. Then we're going to talk about the Netflix situation and a couple other things. Some of it's going to be up on Patreon for you patrons, and some of it is going to be put up here on Corrupted. So if you're not a patron, become one, patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. Plus, I did my 100th episode of Morning Madness this morning. 100 episodes. It's up for you guys, so go check that out if you haven't. And it's also a poll question on what do you think the best gaming controller of all time is. That's up on Patreon. It's free, actually, so you can go to Patreon and you can just vote, even if you're not a patron. It's free, because we're going to be taking that poll question and then putting that into play on Sunday during our gaming podcast that's going to happen Sunday with hopefully me and Jake and maybe Moon and Leah and Himmelgod and a couple other people. Obviously, I'm bringing back the gaming podcast that I used to do. However, I don't know if you know this, Jake, but now there's in D-Moon, but it used to be called Free to Play. In 2015, yeah. I did it. And now there's a free-to-play podcast, so I can't do that.
Yeah, and there was also free play on Rooster Teeth, too. So.
Oh, so that's stupid. So we'll have to come up with something really creepy or something like Ghetto Gangster Busters or something. I don't know.
Ghetto Gangster
Busters.
J&J Network
what's that about?
Anyway, so.
Gangbang 2018. That's the name of the podcast. Just like that rapper who just got killed.
Gangbang. It's about gaming? All right.
Hey, that rapper that just got killed, he like beat his girlfriend blind and shit. You see that?
Yeah, XXX
allegedly.
They said that but the problem is that there a lot of it was just accusations. Like none of it was proven. So,
but who beat her then?
I'm sure he did. It seems more likely than anything, but.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel scary to say anything I don't know about. But I mean, if he did beat her like that, it's like, damn, man, that's gross. That she's blind in the eye, pregnant woman beaten. Who beat her then? Like, whoever beat her, where are they? Like, why don't we get them?
Yeah, exactly. All evidence seems to point that way, but there's a lot of people saying that it was false accusations. So it's messy now, especially with him being deceased. It's even harder to try and make claims to anything.
Maybe just say whatever, chalk it up to whatever. He's passed away, so we don't need to talk about anything. He's already gone, so whatever. I don't know, but I don't know.
But yeah, it's definitely a messed up situation, regardless.
Well, there you go. Don't be gangsters, everybody. And I don't know. Yeah, so we'll have more coming on this channel, and then a lot coming on Patreon in the podcast form. So make sure you guys check that out. And that's it. Was more to come, but we're continuing it off air as we continue to record stuff. And then we got a behind the scenes last night on my Smackdown review for you wrestling fans. Jake mentioned something, and it set me into a psychotic rage. Yeah, an insane rage. So we talked about that and played the clip of me having a meltdown on the Smackdown review. And that'll be up for patrons behind the scenes. I don't really want to release it, but it's kind of funny, so I am going to release it. Screw it. And it's on Patreon for $2 or more patrons. That'll be on in a couple hours. It's not up yet. It'll be on in a couple hours. So look for that. And shout out to Millie27, who became a $5 patron. And shout out to D-Moon, who's here right now, and he is a patron. And we'll see you later. Bye. I'm leaving. Really leaving this time. Bye.